Hi everybody, this video is sponsored by a contribution from Deborah, and this is what she wants you to know. Oh my God, the soft pimping video you made. That's him, minus the money. He never took a dime from me. Always paid for every meal. Never let me forget that though. He would argue anything. The last argument was this. My biggest problem is the jarring effect of my awakening. My mother is a narc. My best friend's of 14 years, antisocial borderline. My son is a narc. I learned all this in a very short amount of time. I was raised by them. I date them. I breed them. That is what's eating me alive. It wasn't just this guy. He was the one who actually woke me up to the bigger problem of me being so comfy in abuse. He sent me to therapy, thinking I was crazy. He would argue or accuse me of the craziest shit out of the blue. He made me feel like I was going insane. I've been used all my life, but no one could hold a candle to him, and he never physically touched me. My son's father was physically abusive as well as mentally. I tried very hard to shield my son from him, but he saw way too much abuse. I am sure he I am sure, but he saw too much abuse, I am sure. He was impossible to get rid of up until my son was 7. That's when he finally left us alone for good, after several domestic cases. Nor me or my son have ever heard from him again to my knowledge. He did reach out to my father trying to get to my son. My father is as toxic as my mother. He actually entertained these assholes' conversations. I'm sure even letting the sack of shit speak to my I'm sure even letting the sack of shit speak to my son. I'll never know for sure. My problem is letting go of all of it. It means letting go of literally everything I have kept close in all my life. In fact, I've referred to as the tipping point my narc. He had a tattoo shop. I went there to work for 15 years. Always felt a connection to him. Always went there if I wanted to work. We finally hooked up, and the nightmare began. I feel so lost. I lost everything with this man. He showed me my whole life. He showed me my whole life is full of these people. That's where my comfort is, and I don't know how to change it. Deborah. You change it, Deborah, by what you're doing right now, by learning as much as you can and sharing your story with other narcissistic abuse survivors. You don't go too specific in here of exactly what happened to you, but you're more concerned about, now that you realize you've lived in this pattern of abuse for your entire life, how do you change it? How do you go forward? Well, the first thing is cutting all these people out of your life. And if it's your son and he's a narcissist and he's abusing you and it's as bad as you're presenting it, then you may need to cut him out as well, as difficult as that is. um, you're susceptible to this because of how you were raised by your family. And you know anybody who's concerned that there's not that much specificity in this message, I can defer to one point where I know it's the truth. And that's where her father is talking to the ex after he disappeared at 7 years old. Nobody ever heard from him. And behind her back is communicating with him. That is narcissism to its core. That is exactly what I experienced, where we all know the people closest to us, these narcissists who are close to us, our family members, are going to turn on us no matter what. And now you got some deadbeat who comes back into the picture after God knows how many years, decades maybe. And they're talking to him like nothing's wrong and still trying to make her out to be the problem, I'm sure. Doesn't say anything to her. That's all you need to know. When you're dealing with that type of betrayal, because that's what it is absolute betrayal. Your entire life, you don't know where to start. And where Deborah here is she just found out about narcissism because of the last relationship she was in with a narcissist. That was the first that's your first domino in your discovery, Deborah. Know you're at your first domino, and they are going to continue to fall. They're going to continue to fall, and you're going to have to, and it's going to fall as it may. And you're not stopping a trail of dominoes once it goes. They're all going down. They're all going to fall. But now, instead of you sitting there and blaming yourself and torturing yourself, you now at least have the basis to rationalize it. Okay, to sit there and look at it analytically. What's going on? Is this person good? Is this person bad? Why am I feeling this way? Is this relating back to my childhood? Yes, it is. Is this not? Yes, it is. Am I following the same patterns I always follow in order to that leads me into these relationships with more and more narcissists? Yes, this is the same thing. This is the same thing. So as your dominoes fall, and remember, you knocked it down. You're the one knocking that first domino over. And now it's gone. Now that chain of dominoes is going to fall. And you change it by keeping your wits about you, by continuing to study these type of conditions, sharing your story, talking about in depth the things that happened to you, the things that happened in your childhood, sharing your stories. And when other people say, that's my story coming out of your mouth now, then you're going to be able to change it. Then you're going to be able to change it because you're not going to blame yourself anymore. You're not going to think it's your fault and you're the one who's stupid and you're the one who's crazy. That'll change your future here on in. That's what's most important, is going into it with clarity and understanding. So thank you for your contribution, and thank you for your question, your story. You're at the beginning. You just knocked over the first domino. Be prepared for what you're going to see, because you're going to have to re-educate yourself on things you thought you would have never given a second thought about. But you just started your discovery. So keep what you know right now in your mind and continue to expand on it and share your story. And thank you again. And thank you to everybody who's watched. If you have any comments or advice, please leave them in the comments section below. And again, if you have an issue, a question, a story that you want shared on the channel, you guys know what to do with the PayPal link in the description box. I'll have the video right out to you as soon as I can. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.